Hi, I'm Jim Dodson. I'm a bicycle injury lawyer. Our office is in Clearwater, but we represent cyclists throughout Florida. I want to talk to you about insurance protecting you and your bicycle today. I'll give you three different cases or scenarios that we're going to discuss. The first is insurance that protects you if you're at fault while riding your bicycle. Second, I'll talk about insurance that protects you if you're on your bicycle and are hit by a driver. And third, we'll talk about insurance that protects your bicycle. So what about insurance that protects you if you're on your bicycle and you're riding and you run into a pedestrian or you run into, God forbid, a child or another cyclist? What kind of insurance is available to actually protect you? Generally, if you own a home and or you rent and you have renter's insurance, which is a very inexpensive policy that every renter ought to have, they come with general liability protection for you as the occupant of the home, okay? So if you're on your bike and you run into a pedestrian and the person falls down and breaks their hip or gets injured, generally your homeowner's insurance protects you when you are at fault while riding your bicycle. It would protect your spouse, it would protect a child if a child of yours living with you runs into someone while riding their bicycle. So the general liability insurance for your homeowner's policy protects you where you go. And one of the ways is while you're on your bicycle. So what about insurance that protects you if you're injured while on your bicycle, but you're hit by a car? Okay. So first you have the insurance of the driver. Remember that in Florida, drivers are not required to purchase liability insurance on their auto policy. It is stupid, but that's the rule, that's the law. So remember that a great number, 40% of the drivers on the road do not have liability insurance, it's estimated. So you protect yourself while you're on your bike and you're hit by a driver by purchasing automobile insurance on your own car and adding to your policy uninsured motorist coverage. That uninsured motorist coverage protects you while you're on your bike and you're hit by a driver who did not have insurance or had a small policy and you have a larger claim. A good example, driver's at fault, he has a $10,000 liability policy, you've got a $100,000 injury. If you have uninsured motorist coverage of at least $100,000 on your own automobile, it would pick up the $90,000 not being paid because the driver had 10 and you need 90 to fully pay your claim. So you get that from your own uninsured motorist policy on your own automobile policy, okay? And I say uninsured motorist, it's really legally, it's uninsured and underinsured. I use the words interchangeably, but they are both on the same policy in Florida. Uninsured is someone who does not have insurance, you're protected. Underinsured fills in coverage that the driver should have had but didn't have quite enough of to pay the full value of your claim. So now the third type of insurance is how do you protect yourself or your bike from damage? And this can be a little confusing for people because your bike is generally going to be covered on your homeowners or renters policy. But remember, homeowners and renters policies insure against specific risks, such as fire theft, and I think it's wind loss and that kind of thing. So it has to be one of those types of reasons that you have a claim. The fact that you were hit by a car isn't one of those reasons. Okay, so the homeowner's insurance on your own homeowner's policy may protect your bike. Some policies have a limit on what they will pay. Some policies allow you to buy extra insurance for something like a bicycle. But the big drawback to relying on homeowner's insurance to pay for the damage to your own bicycle is this. You're going to first apply the deductible. If you have a $250, $500, or even $1,000 deductible, that will be applied to the value of your bike first. Secondly, homeowners insurance is going to depreciate your bike. So that bike you bought 3 years ago, they may depreciate it by 30% at least and apply the deductible. And you can see you quickly get to the point where they're really not providing much protection for your bike. Now, there is a product available, and there may be others in Florida, but personally, the one that I'm familiar with is a product called Velosurance, Velosurance, Velosurance. It's a company, they have offices here in Florida, and they write insurance for bicycles. The advantage of a policy like Velosurance is that there is no that you choose a deductible. So you can choose a deductible of say $150 or $250. And if there is a claim and they pay, all you pay is that deductible. They're not going to depreciate the bike as well. Okay. So as Dave Williams would say, it's easier to come up with the premium than it is to come up with the 500, 1,000, 4,000, 8,000, whatever you paid for your bicycle. I use Velosurance on my bike. And Velosurance is an all-risk coverage. It protects against theft, against being damaged. It protects it if you're hit by a car in a bike crash. So it has all of those things are covered. Now, they've got requirements under their policy of the situations where they will cover it, and you need to ask and be familiar with those. But you eliminate the issue of the deductible and the depreciation and all that as applied in the typical homeowner's policy. So those are the three major ways that I think bicycle insurance you need to understand. And if you have further questions about this, I'm welcome to reach out to us and get your questions answered. I hope you never need it, but if you need us, we're there for you. My name is Jim Dodson, and I hope to talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.